Well, it's been a minute, so I thought I'd try something a little different with the reviewing. Let me know what you guys think of it. I'd like to proudly present Lunar Fire Optimus Prime versus Generations Megatron. I picked Optimus and Megs to do my first versus video because it just seemed obvious. That and they both have giant cannons, and both of them came packaged with their backs hanging over their butts, like some sort of Darth Vader butt cape. I'm going to try to base this loosely on a point system covering the basics, transformation, alt mode, robot mode, posability, weapons. Starting with the traditional alt mode, here's Lunar Fire Optimus Prime in his truck mode. It's a pretty decent rendition of the truck. It's a little long in places, but all in all, it looks really good. I love the new paint job, and honestly, that's the whole reason I got this. I was one of those people torn on whether or not to buy one of those billions of deluxe class Dark of the Moon Optimus Primes that are hanging on shelves everywhere. Ultimately, I decided not to get it. And then my girlfriend pointed out this thing, and with its sweet paint job, I just couldn't turn it down. This thing definitely gains a few points with this sweet-ass alt mode. You can't get this in a leader class, so I'm okay with having it in deluxe. Also, this alt mode looks uncommonly good with Voyager Megatron. It's said that the trailer hitch is just slightly too big to be a MechTech port. It is going to lose points on the fact that this is the second one I had to get. The first one I had to return because there was a misalignment in the knee joint, which prevented both the robot mode from being able to stand up straight, and from this thing being able to turn into its alt mode correctly. As much as I love this paint job, it is a bit shoddy. There ended up being a lot of nicks on the gold paint right out of the box, and it's not something you can avoid. The first one I had nicks too, and when I went back for the second one, all the ones in package had scratches too. This is the best one I could find, except the fact that the gold paint is going to have scratches on it. But nonetheless, a beautiful little alt mode, with a nice gold Autobot symbol right there. As for Megs, Cybertronian Megatron turns into a hover tank. Trust me when I say that I'm a guy who loves his tank transformer collection, and I'm not including this one in it. He could get bonus points for technically having 2 alt modes, but this hardly counts as a third mode. The sad thing is if you put Optimus's gun on top of him, he does a better job conveying a tank than Megatron does. So if you're at the store and you're torn between these two based on alt mode, definitely get Optimus. And now onto the robots. So here's Lunar Fire Optimus Prime in his robot mode. I'll start off by saying that this is a very impressive rendition of Optimus, especially in the Dark of the Moon Deluxe class size. As far as the transformation goes, they do a really good job of using his parts well. I'm very impressed by how the back of the truck becomes his legs. I love the way the feet form the 5th wheel on the back of the truck, and because of the way they transform, he can get some really nice wide stances. It's all topped off with one of the best head reveals I've seen in a long time. I didn't expect such a unique transformation from the third and least important sculpt of Optimus Prime from Dark of the Moon. Judging by what the other two look like, I have to say that this is probably the best Optimus from the Dark of the Moon line, not counting the Japanese Jetwing Optimus Prime. I've wanted his Dark of the Moon Voyager weapon for a while now, but wasn't willing to shell out the 20 to get it. So when this deluxe class repaint showed up without Mudflap's weapon, and the weapon from his Voyager, I had to get it. Admittedly, the back kibble is pretty egregious, but this thing definitely beats the crap out of 07 Leader Prime. So for that, he gets some serious pointage. I do have to dock him a couple points on the neutered light piping, which would be red if it weren't for the fact that they were painted blue. I do love Optimus in these colors, and while it's neither movie accurate nor G1 accurate, it is pretty cool. It's definitely better than Megatron's paint job, which features lavender, and I hate lavender. Anything with lavender cannot be a killing machine, but fortunately for Megs, it's in minuscule amounts. Megs' transformation is about as interesting as his alt mode, so I'm inclined to believe the guy who designed this thing thought his alt mode was just awesome. I like the way the treads fold in half to become his arms. I like how they use the pieces that make up his feet. And if need be, Megatron has a transforming crotch guard. His gun can get kind of irritating, simply because where you would push on it to attach it to his arm is right where the firing mechanism is. Can't tell you how many times I've had premature detonation with this thing. And the missile is lavender too. I was disappointed to find out that this gun isn't MechTech compatible, because I would have loved to have put this on some of my Dark of the Moon guys. As much as I hate the lavender, I do love these little clear lavender highlights that are all over him. It's a really nice touch. In lieu of having a deluxe class Dark of the Moon Megatron, this guy'll do. Although these two are about the same size anyway. He looks really good next to my Voyager class Shockwave, who's super tiny. He really ends up making Shockwave look like a really buff guy, which Shockwave should be. It's kind of nice that his otherwise lavender light piping is painted over with red. I love Megs' overall shape. With his bell-bottom legs and muscular upper body and super long Devimon arms, I must say that despite the lavender, this guy's design is actually pretty good. It's very G1, yet also movie-esque and a little bit of Transformers Prime. I think this is a very good Megatron to represent the all-encompassing Megatron. It pretty much covers everything but Beast Wars and the Unicron trilogy. As far as posability goes, I'd have to say a tie, simply because Optimus has a little bit more trouble standing, but has a little bit better posability. Optimus with 2 elbow joints, Megatron with 1 just really good elbow joint. Neither one's hands are articulated, but Megatron suffers the most because he really can't hold anything. Both have good knees, some form of thigh swivel, Optimus definitely has better ankles, although Megatron's better at standing. Megatron can definitely pull off a bit of a shrug. Them both having giant arm-mounted cannons really gives a nice symmetry to their feud. Speaking of the guns, and as far as they go, I definitely like Optimus's better. 1 for its versatility, 2 for its ability to change, which admittedly isn't that great, and 3 for the fact that I just like its design better, and also the fact that it doesn't shoot a missile out of it every time you try and put it on the guy it goes to. All in all, Optimus's figure is just simply better. It's more compatible with the MechTech system, and even though it's too small by Deluxe class standards, it works really well with my Generations Megatron. And as my only G1-esque Megatron, it's nice to have an Optimus to go along with him. All in all, if you're going to get either, definitely get Optimus. But the Megatron is nothing to shake a stick at. It just doesn't have a very good alt mode. This has been the video review for Lunar Fire Optimus Prime versus Generations Cybertronian Megatron, and thank you for watching.